Mountain News this morning, one way folks in the Commonwealth paid tribute to 9/11 first responders is by climbing 110 flights of stairs, representing each story of the World Trade Center. And one Perry County school is celebrating finally reopening its doors after the July 2022 flood.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We're coming up on 5 o'clock this Thursday morning, and when meteorologist Tim Drawbridge told us it was going to be a little warmer yesterday, he meant it. I felt it out there yesterday, Tim. How about today?
You didn't believe me, did you? Madison, 55 outside our door. Some cloud cover issues above us, and yes, we'll check that out in just a moment, but also check out 10 degrees warmer as you make your way into Breathitt County at Jackson right now. 65, 62 at Prestonsburg. It's 60. Good morning to you at Middlesboro. 60 at London. Mid-60s up your way in Rowan County, Moorhead. Here's the satellite weather composite again. We've seen that increase of cloud cover over the last several hours, but we look down toward Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi, and the forward progress of our rain, the precipitation shield, having a hard time coming northbound. And that means we're going to keep the daylight hours dry now as we head through your Thursday. Faded sunshine, best opportunity as you leave Hazard, head up toward Ashland and Moorhead. For the rest of us, Hal Rogers points south. Mostly cloudy. The shower threat arrives across northern Tennessee late this afternoon, and a high in Hazard near 80. More about your ARH First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in this 5 o'clock hour. Madison?
All right, Tim, thank you. Big Sandy Community and Technical College hosted a 9/11 memorial service yesterday, inviting the community to be a part of the event. The event brought students in to hear about the tragedy and how the nation stood together. Guest speaker and veteran Randall Hackney says the memorial events are important because many of the students on campus were not alive in 2001.
So I think it gives students a perspective of why some of the things that they might not understand are shaped the way they are.
The event also included a flag raising by the Pikeville Honor Guard. Another ceremony honoring the victims of 9/11 was hosted in Franklin County. Members of the Frankfort Fire and EMS talked about the incident that happened 23 years ago. Chris Wood of the fire department was just in elementary school when 9/11 occurred. Wood says firefighters on that day serve as a role model to the profession.
It's just something that we try to live up to day in and day out in our profession, just giving back to the community as best we can.
Less than an hour after that event, at 7 o'clock last night, Lexington firefighters hosted their 9/11 memorial stair climb at Kroger Field. At that event, hundreds of people paid tribute to the fallen first responders. They climbed 110 flights of stairs inside UK's Kroger Field for a special memorial service. Grayson Passmore reports on how firefighters are ensuring the sacrifices made that day are never forgotten.
Everyone remembers where they were on 9/11.
September 11th, 2001, the day our country changed forever.
There's a lot of men and women in the fire service who joined the police department or the fire department or the military because of what happened. And so I was one of those.
2 years after Lieutenant Chris McFarland watched as the brave first responders rushed into the fallen towers to save others, he became a firefighter himself. Now more than 2 decades later, and he's helped organize the Lexington Fire Department's annual Memorial Stair Climb at Kroger Field.
Trying to do our best 23 years later to not forget the ultimate sacrifice that they made.
Hundreds of first responders, servicemen and women, and their families walked 110 flights of stairs inside the stadium, the equivalent of the 110 stories of the World Trade Center. The tribute made here not only remembers the sacrifices people made that day, but symbolically completes their heroic journeys. As everyone who made the climb Wednesday wore the name and picture of a fallen first responder.
They climbed knowing that those police officers and firefighters climbed those towers that day, trying to help as many people as they could, not knowing what the outcome was.
And Kentuckians will climb in their memories every year to come.
It was a remarkable day because you saw everyone pulling together. I mean, it didn't matter what your political background was, it didn't matter what race you were, everyone was American and everyone pulled together.
In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
Lieutenant McFarland says many of the climbers at yesterday's memorial were not even alive when 9/11 happened, but they still came out on Wednesday to learn and pay tribute. Yesterday, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had a statement on social media about remembering 9/11. It says 23 years ago today, terrorists ended 2,977 innocent lives in an act of staggering cruelty. From the rubble, our nation rose to rebuild, to care for the grieving, to pay tribute to heroes who ran toward danger, and to bring murderers to justice. We will never forget. Officials with the Buckhorn School hosted a ribbon cutting yesterday in Perry County. The ribbon cutting was to celebrate something new in addition to students being back in the building for the first time since the 2022 flood. There is now a new preschool program at Buckhorn.
This area has never had a preschool before and didn't have early childhood education opportunities for the children living here. So it was really important that we looked for ways to increase that kindergarten readiness for the children living in the community.
Buckhorn school officials say final renovations are still being completed. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we return, we'll check in with WYMT's Lucy Bryson live in Laurel County for an update on the manhunt for Joseph Couch.
In the meantime, we're waking up to some cloud cover issues and a mild start to the day. Better, right? When does the rain arrive? We'll let you know. Your ARH First Alert 7-day forecast coming up right after this.